Have you ever felt like there just isn't enough time to draw everything you want? As artists, we often have more ideas than we can realistically bring to life, so how do you make the most of your drawing time? Hi, I'm May, and today I'm going to talk about how you can become more effective as an artist and maximize your time. Now, whether you are just starting out or you're a bit more experienced, I think there's something here for everyone. Some of the tips I'll be sharing are things I wish I had known when I started, and a lot of them are concepts I've only learned recently. I'll also be sharing my illustration process for a piece featuring Kazuha as well as some other Genshin Impact characters as we talk about this. One of the best ways to maximize your time is to give each drawing or illustration a purpose. Whenever I start a new piece, I ask myself, what's the goal of this illustration? Is it to improve a specific skill like anatomy or perspective? Maybe I want to work on backgrounds or try out a new lighting setup. Having a goal in mind not only gives me direction, but also ensures that the time I spend on the illustration is productive and helps me grow as an artist. And this approach also makes every illustration a stepping stone toward improving your overall art skills. So even if you're not drawing your perfect masterpiece every time, each piece serves a purpose and helps you progress. You can always mix things up, but having a goal keeps things focused. Another great way to make your drawing time more effective is to create illustrations that can also serve as products. For me, this is particularly helpful since I would like to make a living with my art projects, and selling my art through products helps me achieve that goal. It can also help with coming up with or deciding on ideas, since I can ask myself the question if other people would also like what I'm drawing so much that they would even consider buying a product. Whether it's prints, stickers, or other merchandise, you can turn your art into something people can buy and enjoy. For example, let's say I am drawing a fan art of Kazuha from Genshin Impact. I might already know that this character and Genshin in general has many fans, and that this artwork could make for a great print that I can sell online or at in-person events. Now my time spent drawing this illustration isn't just for practice, it's an opportunity to monetize my art and build my brand, if that is something you would also like to focus on. When it comes to more monetization or just ways to build a presence and reach an audience as an artist, social media would be another important element to include here. If you would like to share your illustrations online, your art can also serve as content for social media or video platforms. If you're working on original characters, why not turn that into a long or short form OC challenge video? Or if you're redrawing a character you love, you could turn that into a process video for YouTube. This way you are not only creating art but also videos that can reach a broader audience. I've found that this kind of multitasking can be extremely effective in growing both your art skills and your online presence at the same time. To save time and be more effective, it's essential to find a drawing process that works for you. This can take some experimentation, but once you find a workflow that feels natural, it makes the whole process more enjoyable and efficient. Here are a few things to consider when creating your process. Improving a fundamental. Choose an aspect of your art that you want to improve on, whether it's anatomy, lighting, or composition. I often focus on one of these fundamentals when working on a new illustration, using references to guide me. This could also include studying how other artists handle certain aspects of their work. Using a predefined workspace or document structure, having a workspace that's organized can make all the difference. Whether it's organizing your drawing space, having the right brushes handy, or setting up shortcuts, it streamlines the process and saves time. I, for example, have a structure in a separate document I like to copy into my drawing files, as well as a few brushes I selected that I use at different stages of my illustration process. Incorporating checkpoints. I like to break down my drawing process into stages or checkpoints. This helps me ensure I don't miss important elements. For example, start by gathering a few references. Even if it's a spontaneous idea, references can help a lot. Or just start with an idea in your head if you have a clear one. Then create a thumbnail or multiple ones with a focus on the composition of the image. The thumbnail and rough block in here could also include poses, values, and colors. Work in perspective lines or guidelines in the sketching phase to ensure accuracy. After the sketching phase and fixing this sketch, I would draw the line art, going over my sketch while paying attention to using varying line thickness in a nice way. After fixing the line art, I would fill in the flat colors. When I'm unsure and haven't done a value or color block in at the start in the thumbnail phase, I can also do a value block in first, including lighting and shadows at times, and then a color block in. Next, the shading stage. In some cases I'll do some rough shading on one layer on top of all colors first, and then refined shading using separate layer folders for the different colors. In other cases I may also just start with the refined shading when I'm more sure of where the shadows should be at the end. Then a post-processing stage at the end. This can help with fixing elements, adjusting colors, or adding small effects and details which can enhance your illustration. Finally, I would add a final critique and fixing step. I like to do this maybe 1 to 2 weeks after I'm done with the illustration, so I can look at the artwork with a different view. Another way to be more efficient with your time is by utilizing assets and shortcuts. This can be anything from pre-made brushes to textures or even 3D models to speed up the workflow. Using assets that help you save time and focus on what really matters can help you with creating your best work. I find I'm able to focus more on developing a good idea by finding shortcuts to do repetitive tasks which don't challenge me mentally and would just take time. I, for example, have used Blender or Sims 4 to block in backgrounds and scenes. Textured brushes have helped me with adding backgrounds as well. Additionally, Clip Studio Paint is a program that has a lot of assets such as brushes, image materials, as well as 3D models, which I use from time to time as well. In digital art, learning shortcuts is essential. Most programs like Clip Studio Paint, Photoshop, or Krita have detailed shortcut menus. Especially when you start to use a program and want to learn more about it, it's a good idea to familiarize yourself with the shortcuts and shortcut menu. As you draw even later on and you notice yourself repeating certain actions, look up whether there's a shortcut for it, or if you can set up a custom shortcut. This can save you precious minutes over the course of a drawing session and make your workflow smoother. When I feel stuck or I'm struggling with a specific area of an illustration, I like to turn it into a learning opportunity. For example, if I'm having trouble with drawing hands, instead of getting frustrated, I'll gather hand references and use that part of the illustration as a focused study session. What can work at times as well when you're struggling with something is to take a step back and either draw another part of the illustration, draw a different illustration, or take a break from drawing altogether. Setting a clear goal and time frame can help you push through difficult stages of a drawing. Define what you want to achieve with that piece. You can also give yourself a deadline if it helps. Having some kind of time limit can prevent you from overthinking or spending too much time on one small detail. Since I have a daily drawing routine, I have time frames I can slightly adjust but that are overall defined. Like this, I can use time from 1 p.m. to 2 or 3 p.m. for sketching something and 7 p.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. for line art, for example. I'll blend in my overall daily routine here. When I don't have any other real life obligations or events, having this routine has enabled me to really focus on my task at hand since I am used to it. If you are a person that thrives on living in a routine, I suggest you create your own rough guide with your own preferences. Some people can also feel limited by a routine or their life obligations don't allow for it, so I understand if this doesn't work for everyone. One thing to note here as well would be that I don't strictly follow the times, but instead I use them to guide what tasks I do. But if I need 20 more minutes to finish a sketch or editing a reel, for example, and I would like to do that, I just do it and continue on with my routine afterwards. This is more of an order of the things I do on a daily basis, with a rough estimation of how long it takes me from my observations over time. Now I'll talk a bit about the illustration you saw me draw today, featuring Kazuha, Hutao, Fenty, Wanderer, as well as Ningguang, Beidou, and Xiangling. First, I drew different characters here. Initially, I drew this illustration for an art contest hosted by Dokomi and Nifta, which I wanted to be Japanese themed. I drew in Dokomi mascots here. As this illustration included a very detailed background and I spent a lot of time on it, I thought I would like to turn it into Genshin Impact fan art in case I didn't win the contest. And that's what I did. The illustration served the goal of studying backgrounds and Japanese themed elements, and I was able to turn it into a print after I drew in the Genshin Impact characters and also share it on social media. I at first also used a CMYK color space as this was requested for the illustration for the contest. However, I now know that if I were to draw this again, I would work in the RGB color space and then convert the image into CMYK. Working in the RGB color space is much better for drawing as you have more color space, and in Krita, when working in CMYK, you can also not record time lapses. After the first version for the contest, I changed the color space into RGB. Like this, I could include more various colors. Then I painted over the characters' faces, changed some proportions, and I also added some patterns or elements fitting to the Genshin Impact characters. To summarize the advice we talked about, making the most of your drawing time comes down to a few key points. Have a clear purpose for each illustration, whether it's improving a skill, creating products, or making content. Develop a workflow that works for you. Find a process that feels natural and efficient. Use assets and shortcuts. Don't shy away from tools that can save you time. Set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve with each piece. And don't be afraid to use challenges as learning opportunities. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any tips for making the most of your drawing time. If you're interested in seeing some of my screen recorded process videos, full illustrations and time lapses, you can find them on my Patreon. And don't forget to like if this video was helpful to you, it would mean a lot. You can also subscribe for more art related videos. Thanks for watching, have a nice day and bye.